4. The discovery goes public. By the time Dominic's scam became town gossip, it wasn't rumor anymore. It was headline material. Someone, nobody knows who, though my money's on Lila, sent the entire donation record to the local police and 3 online forums. Within hours, our family name was trending on neighborhood Facebook groups, right between lost dog sightings and pothole complaints. Miracle cancer survivor exposed as a fraud, one thread read. I tried not to look, but even the grocery clerk gave me that pity mixed with curiosity stare. Mom found out through a friend who called just to check in. She hung up, white as flour, and turned to Dad. They're saying Dominic stole from the church fund. Dad's face went gray. Dominic stood by the window scrolling on his phone like it was all background noise until suddenly his jaw clenched. They tagged me, he muttered. This is slander. Right then, a police cruiser rolled slowly past our driveway, and Mom panicked like she'd seen a ghost. She started yanking photos off shelves. Dominic in hospital gowns, Dominic surrounded by candles, our family posing with fake donation checks. We can't let them use any of this, she cried. Dad joined in, stuffing boxes with anything marked medical. It would have been funny if it wasn't so pathetic. Shouldn't we just tell the truth? I asked. Mom turned sharp. Truth? You mean betray your brother? I shrugged. I thought he already did that himself. The air froze. That's when Dad stepped forward, voice low and deadly calm. You will delete everything. Every post, every message. If anyone asks, Dominic really was sick and he recovered miraculously. Do you understand? There it was. The family motto upgraded from denial to obstruction. Dominic nodded approvingly like a director satisfied with his cast. But the police didn't need our cooperation. They had digital footprints. 2 officers arrived later that afternoon, polite but firm. They asked for Dominic, who miraculously was resting. One officer mentioned bank statements and social media inconsistencies. Mom insisted that they must have mixed files with another patient. I stood silent, heart pounding, pretending not to exist. When the officers left, Dominic exploded. Who sent that tip? Who's trying to ruin me? He slammed cupboards and called half his friends demanding loyalty oaths. I kept my expression neutral. Lila texted, "They've frozen the fundraiser account." That's when he finally lost the mask. Sweat, shaking hands, no swagger now. Over the next few days, the story exploded larger than his ego. Local donors wanted refunds. The mayor issued a cautious statement about charitable accountability. Even the church group that once lit candles for him publicly apologized for being fooled. Across social media, people dissected his posts like detectives, matching timestamps, locations, outfits. My personal favorite comment, "Guess chemo really does give you a tan and abs." Mom cried constantly. Dad stayed glued to news sites, muttering about defamation suits. Dominic alternated between rage and melodrama. He posted a shaky video claiming the diagnosis was misunderstood and that he'd been healing alternative ways. The background clearly showed our living room, half-empty shelves, Mom sobbing off camera. Comments weren't kind. Where's your proof? Return the money, scammer. The dislikes outnumbered likes, 10 to 1. The next morning, our driveway filled with cameras. Reporters from small stations hovered like crows. I pulled the curtains shut while Dominic shouted through the door, "Say I'm at treatment." He fled out the back with a hoodie over his head. Mom chased after him, yelling something about passports and privacy. That's when the house phone rang again. Detectives requesting a voluntary interview. I could hear one say, "We only need to confirm a few details regarding the fundraiser." Mom gripped the phone, whispering, no comment," before hanging up. Then she spun toward me. "If they call you, you'll say you believed he was ill. You'll keep your mouth shut." I laughed because sometimes hysteria sounds a lot like humor. "You're asking me to lie to the cops," I said. Her voice cracked. "I'm asking you to protect this family. From justice? From shame." There it was, the core truth. They weren't afraid of crimes, they were afraid of neighbors. Later that night, while sirens echoed, somewhere nearby, I watched Dad scrolling through receipts on his laptop trying to delete files. "Digital footprints don't vanish," I muttered. He ignored me. Dominic burst in holding his phone. "They found my Instagram backups. They're saying I geotagged a concert during chemo week." I snorted. Well, maybe the band was therapeutic. He lunged toward me, eyes wild. "You think this is funny? You ruined everything." Mom jumped between us screaming, "Stop it! She didn't do anything." He barked back. "She started doubting me. That's when people noticed." The absurd logic almost made me admire him. Gaslighting as performance art. The next day felt like crisis rehearsals on repeat. Every call, every notification was another blow. The bank froze his accounts. PayPal demanded verification. One donor threatened legal action. Dominic hid in his room with curtains drawn, occasionally emerging to accuse me of betrayal. Dad tried damage control. He drafted a letter claiming Dominic's diagnosis came from an unlicensed holistic center abroad. He wanted me to sign as witness. I refused. Mom cried on cue. "What's wrong with you, Serena? Families help each other." "By covering felonies?" I asked. Dad slammed his fist on the table so hard the salt shaker cracked. "Enough smart mouth ethics." That was Thursday. By Friday morning, news vans camped outside. Grandma called telling them to stop harassing, but ended up yelling at Mom for enabling the mess. "You can't pray this away," Grandma said. Mom hung up mid-sentence. When authorities froze the remaining funds, Dominic tried one last stunt. He staged a hospital post, recycled from an old photo, captioned, "Back for more tests, keep faith." Within hours, the police issued a statement debunking it. That should have been the end, but my parents doubled down. They organized a family meeting in the living room like wartime leaders. Dad cleared his throat. "We stick to one story. Dominic was sick, misdiagnosed later. Paperwork confusion. Serena, you'll back that up. What if the police show me documents? Then you cry," Mom said quickly. "Say you're not sure. Say you're traumatized." Dominic nodded solemnly, as if this was righteous strategy, rather than criminal coaching. I stared at them, all three, and realized none of them cared about guilt. Only optics. The irony was blinding. We'd gone from private shame to public theater, rehearsing our own lies while the cops already had the script. That night, I sat in my car behind the grocery store parking lot just to breathe without accusations echoing. My phone buzzed, Lila again. Detectives called me. They know he used my account once for donations. They're piecing it together. I told her to tell the truth. Hang guilt elsewhere. "You're not part of this," I said. She hesitated. "What about you?" Good question. Because staying in that house had become like standing in a smoke-filled room pretending the fire alarm was just ambience. When I got home, Dad was outside arguing with a news crew. Mom stood beside him, tear-ready, yelling about harassment. Dominic watched from the window, face pale, finally realizing that the world wasn't buying his performance anymore. He turned to me as I walked in. When they asked, remember, it was all a misunderstanding. I met his eyes and said, "Yeah, you misunderstood honesty for strategy." That's when Mom snapped completely. "You can't talk to the police. Do you hear me? You'll ruin us." She gripped my wrist hard enough to hurt. I pulled free. It's already ruined. Her mouth open then closed. For the first time, she didn't have a script. Later, inside my room, I watched old messages scroll by. Friends asking if it was all true, coworkers offering awkward condolences, someone anonymous writing, "They're lymphoma. You're brave if you tell them." My stomach twisted because bravery didn't feel like glory, it felt like loneliness. Downstairs, voices rose again, parents whisper shouting, Dominic pacing. The words drifted up clearly. "She'll keep quiet. She knows blood's thicker. But maybe blood isn't always thicker. Sometimes it just stains longer." That was the night I decided that when police called next, I'd answer. Mom could call it betrayal, Dad could call it disloyalty, Dominic could call it bullying, but I'd call it breathing. Because every lie that built our family had finally collapsed, and all that was left was dust and the sound of sirens closing in. Act 5, the family intervention. By Saturday, the living room looked like a courtroom that served casseroles. Mom had called an emergency family meeting. Her tone over the phone was calm, too calm, the kind of calm you hear before a storm levels the neighborhood. I showed up mostly out of morbid curiosity. Dominic sat sunk into the couch under a blanket, pale by choice, lip quivering like he'd rehearsed it in the mirror. Dad stood near the window, arms folded, pretending authority still existed in this house. Mom cleared her throat, the signal we were entering official denial territory. "We handle this privately. No more outsiders," she said, glaring at me. "The police don't need details from family members." I wanted to laugh, but held it in. The setup was classic. They decided that pretending to take control would undo the fraud that had already gone viral. Dominic, wiped a perfectly timed tear and whispered, "I never meant for things to get so out of hand." Cue Mom's gasp, steady as clockwork. She knelt beside him. "You're under stress, honey. People twisted your words." "People like me?" I asked quietly. Dad turned, voice sharp. "Serena, this is not about blame. Really, because you've all been practicing blaming me since breakfast." Silence, the kind so thick you could butter it. Mom straightened, adjusting her cardigan like armor. "You think we don't see how hard this is for you, but attacking your brother is cruelty." Dominic sniffled. I said sorry. "Sorry for stealing thousands of dollars or sorry for getting caught?" I asked. Dad slammed his hand against the wall. "Watch your tone." There it was. Their holy trinity of guilt, denial, pity, and intimidation. Mom turned back to Dominic, stroking his arm. "Tell her what really happened." He hesitated, then spoke softly. "It started with real fear. I had a lump. They said it might be cancer. People wanted to help. It just snowballed." Snowballed, right. The kind of snowball that buys cars and concert tickets. Dad looked at me like a priest giving last rites. "You see, misunderstandings happen." "I see fraud happens," I said. "And you're all pretending it's weather." That earned me the collective glare of two parents whose favorite hobby was moral gymnastics. Mom clasped her hands together. "If the police ask, say donations were transferred to cover debts, something harmless. They already have receipts," I said, "and I won't lie." "You will," Dad snapped, "because family comes first." For a second, no one breathed. My pulse thudded loud in my ears. Family didn't come first when he conned the entire town, I said finally. It came last, right after his spa appointments. Dominic flinched, mask slipping. "You're loving this, aren't you? Watching me fall?" "I'd prefer watching you grow up," I said. Mom gasped again, possibly worried the sarcasm was contagious. "Both of you stop. We're already broken enough." That's when Dominic dropped the act, voice turning sharp. "Fine, you think you're noble? Go ahead, tell them everything. You'll ruin us. I'm not the one who built this on lies. You'll still ruin us," he repeated, eyes red, jaw tight. That threat trembled in the air like static. Dad stepped forward again, leader of the damage control brigade. "Listen," he said slower. "The police called. They might ask for separate statements. We say he was misdiagnosed. Serena, we need you aligned." "No," I said. Mom's smile froze like porcelain cracking. "Sweetheart, don't let stubborn morals destroy your brother. Think of his future." "His future?" I laughed. "You mean his sentence?" Dad's voice rose. "Not funny. Neither is theft." The argument burned hotter until Grandma's voice erupted at the doorway. None of us heard her arrive. "Enough," she shouted. The room froze. She looked smaller than usual, but carved from steel. "You all sound like fools. That boy," she pointed at Dominic, "lied to everyone, and you're protecting him? Shame on you." Mom tried to interrupt, but Grandma's hand shot up. "No. Every prayer you whispered, every dollar people gave, is a sin on your conscience now. And you," she turned to me, calm again, "you be brave. Truth doesn't destroy families, lies do." Dominic looked away, muttering, "You always liked her better." Grandma snorted. "At least she sleeps at night." She left as suddenly as she'd come, door slamming like punctuation from God. After she was gone, the silence grew unbearable. Mom sniffled, muttering prayers. Dad stared at the carpet. Dominic fiddled with his phone, hands shaking. The air smelled like panic and reheated guilt. Then Mom spoke again, voice trembling but firm. "She's old. She doesn't understand the world now. People forgive if you manage the story." "Mom," I said softly, "the story's over. The curtain's down." No one replied. An hour later, they started rehearsing new lines. "Say you misunderstood. Say he only used part of the money. Say social media exaggerated." Every sentence ended with, "They can't prove it without you." I caught my reflection in the mirror over the mantel. Same tired eyes, but something hardened behind them. I finally understood that in this family, truth was optional. Image was sacred. By evening, Dad announced, summarizing like a manager assigning chores. "Dominic, you stay out of sight. Mom, handle calls. Serena, when detectives schedule your interview, you'll confirm illness. That's final." I didn't argue, I just said, "Okay." The relief on their faces was instant, like I'd finally repented. But inside I was just bored of shouting into walls. Sometimes silence is sharper than any comeback. Dinner that night was absurd, a buffet of tension. Dominic picked at his food dramatically. Mom kept sniffing. Dad pretended we were planning a vacation instead of an alibi. I excused myself early, claiming a headache. Upstairs, I texted Lila. They're asking me to lie under oath. She replied, "You won't." I typed back, "We'll see." But I already knew she was right. Around midnight, a knock at my door startled me. It was Mom. Her eyes looked older, sleep-deprived. "Sweetheart, please," she whispered. "If Dominic goes to prison, he'll never survive. You'd carry that guilt forever." "I already carry enough guilt for staying silent," I said. Her lips tightened. "Think of me then. Think of what a mother endures." "Maybe think of what the donors endured," I whispered back. She flinched, then left without another word. Downstairs, I could hear Dad loudly telling Dominic, "She'll come around," and Dominic replying, "She always folds." Funny thing, this time, they were wrong. The next morning, I woke to a message from the detective, calm and professional. "We'd like to speak with you tomorrow about your brother's fundraiser. Please confirm availability." I stared at it, already aware that everyone downstairs waited for my reply like gamblers watching dice roll. At breakfast, Mom tried casual conversation. "Sleep okay?" "Fine." Dad added, "The police might overreach. Best not to confuse them." Dominic just whispered, "Remember, we're family." I nodded, smiling faintly. "Of course." None of them noticed the quiet satisfaction in my tone, the kind that comes when a decision's already made. Later, when I stepped outside, sunlight hit like fresh air after a long fever. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel trapped by their grip on the truth. By evening, I packed my evidence into a single folder labeled Statement. And as I zipped my bag shut, I realized something finally clear as daylight. They thought saving him meant saving themselves. But saving myself meant breaking from all of them. Tomorrow morning, I'd walk into that police station. And this time, the story would be real. Act 6. Pressure mounts. I was halfway through reheating leftovers when the doorbell started doing an impression of a dying car horn. I opened the door and there they were, my parents, flushed, frantic, and holding a casserole like peace offering. Mom shoved past me first thing. "We need to talk," she said, already crying before the performance even began. Dad followed, expression set to grim resolution. Apparently, desperation had driven them from denial to begging. The police had called again. This time they wanted detailed statements from every family member. "They'll twist your words," Dad warned, pacing like a lawyer with no credentials. "You say one wrong thing and Dominic's life is over." "He did that himself," I muttered, shutting the door behind them. Mom flinched. "Please don't be cruel," she whispered. "He's sick in the head, Serena. He needs help, not prison." "Help costs less than $80,000 in donations," I said. That earned a glare sharp enough to chip glass. Mom dropped her purse on my counter and started unpacking guilt like groceries. "If he goes to prison, you'll lose him forever. Is that what you want?" I wanted to say yes. Instead, I just sighed and leaned against the counter. "What I want is to stop lying." Dad exhaled loudly. "You keep saying that like honesty is therapy. It's destruction." "That's poetic," I said dryly. "Maybe you can quote it to the detectives." Mom's lip trembled. "They're investigating fraud, Serena." "Fraud? He'll be labeled for life. People will never hire him again. You have to think about your brother's future." "My brother's future was built on pity donations and fake chemo selfies," I shot back. She covered her face like I'd shouted profanity. Dad stepped closer. "You think you're innocent here? You played along. You drove him to appointments." "I believed him." "Exactly," Mom snapped. "So tell the police you did. Tell them everyone believed. That's not lying. It's sentiment." That was a new one. Sentimental. Obstruction. Then came the emotional blackmail routine, familiar and exhausting. Mom's voice softened, eyes watery. "Sweetheart, you're compassionate. If you tell them everything, he'll be handcuffed. Picture Dominic behind bars. How will you live with that?" "I'll manage," I said quietly. She gasped, pressing her palm to her chest as if I'd confessed murder. "You can't be serious." But I was. Dad sat down, finally dropping the tough guy act. "We raised you better," he said softly. "Loyalty matters." "Loyalty's supposed to work both ways," I said. "When did he ever protect me?" No answer. Just silence and the distant hum of my refrigerator filling the space where family used to live. The next hour was a negotiation disguised as conversation.